Hey everyone, my name is Cameron Eldred, and I am a recent graduate from the University of Utah, where I got my undergraduate degree, of course, in athletic training. This video is for my DAT program through Indiana State University. I will be talking a little bit about outcome measures, my personal opinion on them, and just a little bit about how I've applied them, what I've learned about them, and how I plan to apply them in the future. Um, so, only recently having graduated, I haven't really had the opportunity to apply them to my own practice personally. However, I've had the opportunity to witness a lot of both clinician based outcome measures and patient outcome measures recently. So, in my time with my undergrad, I was able to go through and watch clinician outcome measures just exponentially be used on a regular basis. We, or me, being with University of Utah football, I had the opportunity to witness a lot of um, long-term rehabilitated injuries, and the opportunity that we had to use clinician outcome measures on those folks was, without question, the perfect opportunity for me to learn. Every time that we had the opportunity to take a patient that we were working with and measure their range of motion or measure their strength, my preceptor would always look at me and say, "Hey, why don't you come over here and do this? Why don't you do this?" And then he would explain to me, they may not feel like they are progressing. They may look at you and they may say, "Man, this is ridiculous. I only got 2 degrees of extension. I'm however long out of my ACL injury, like, I should be progressing faster than this." And in the back of your mind, you're going, no, like, you're actually ahead of the game right now. And you can show them, you can prove to them, you can take your clinician outcomes and you can tell them, hey, listen, you are ahead of the game. You're progressing the way that you need to, if not faster, and I'm super proud of you for getting to where you're at. Look at your strength, look at your range of motion, look at the things that you're doing, and how well you're progressing. So, from my preceptors, who are all certified athletic trainers, of course, I was able to witness that. However, something that I wasn't able to witness as much was patient outcome measures. So, something that became very frequent with my undergraduate degree was they didn't take into consideration how the athlete felt about what was going on. And I actually had the opportunity to witness one athlete my very last semester just absolutely explode because this athlete felt like they weren't getting anywhere. And we had just hired on a new physical therapist, and this new physical therapist sat down with this athlete and he said, you know, I understand your frustration and I get where you're coming from, and you hate coming in for rehab and you hate doing all these different things. And he said, why don't you write down all the things that you've enjoyed about your rehab, write down all the things that you haven't enjoyed, write down your frustrations, write everything down that you've done. And so this athlete did that. And I mean, he created an essay practically about the things that he loved, the things that he hated, and everything in between. Now, granted, a lot of questions that the physical therapist had asked this athlete were guided questions. And it was to help the athlete realize, that he was making progression, that the athlete was able to, he was able to help this athlete see through these patient outcome measures that this athlete was appreciated, that he was being listened to. Because after this physical therapist we had just hired on decided to help him out and, show him and talk to him, his rehab changed. It became something that he enjoyed doing because the physical therapist took this athlete's opinion and he was able to mold it and make it into something that was usable in his rehab. And so to me, like being able to look at your athletes and talk to them about what they're enjoying and what they aren't and how they feel they're progressing You can apply everything you learn from those conversations as a athletic, from an athlete's standpoint, you can make it into a patient outcome measure. At which point you can then look at your clinician outcome measures and say, you know what, I changed things based on what this athlete said, and I applied them to their rehab, and now look, they're enjoying it, and guess what? They're getting a little bit more extension, or they're getting a little bit more strength when it comes down to it. So, in my personal opinion, throughout my own practice, now that I'm outside of my undergraduate degree and I'm going to be practicing at a high school where I'm going to be able to progress on my own, I'm going to be utilizing both of these consistently and all the time, because they both apply to patient care. They both apply to being able to help our athletes progress and become what our athlete wants to become. So thank you for listening. I know I was a little long-winded, went a little bit of overtime. I apologize. But again, what we do is about the athlete, through and through. Have a good night, guys.